burning issues get full details every week as we bring you clearer pictures of happenings around the world as the editor picks the latest information. Editor's Pick. Join us.
Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. The program is Editor's Pick and it's coming to you live from the studios of River State Television, Channel 22 here in Port Harcourt. I'm Otuna here as winner. Well, as you know, once we come on like this on the program, Editor's Pick, we'll tend to look at the major things happening. What is the hottest thing happening around us? And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm sure you'll be interested by the time you know what it's all about. Now, workers in River State woke up to the news that the planned protests by the organized labor, which was slated for Tuesday, 8th September, had been called off, following an 8-point agreement which was reached with the state government on Monday night. The meeting, which was held at the Executive Chamber of River State Government House in Port Harcourt, had in attendance national and state representatives of the NLC and the TUC. The agreement was signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Tammy Danagogo, the Head of Service, Rufus Godwins, the State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Palinos Nsirim, and the Executive Assistant to the State Governor, Dr. Ayebe Singh Beredugu. They all signed for the state government. And then the Secretary General of the NLC, Emmanuel Ugwaja, Secretary General of the TUC, Musa Lawal, the State NLC Chairman, Beatrice Itubo, her TUC counterpart, Austin Jonah, State TUC Secretary Ubi Fortune and Chuku Emecheta signed for labor. Today on Editor's Pick, we will focus on the outcome of that all-important meeting. And my guest happens to be the State Chairman of the NLC. And of course, her name is Comrade Beatrice Itubo. Welcome to Editor's Pick.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
I want to start by saying congratulations to you on a very peaceful outing you had with the state government. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then thank you so much for coming. It came in a good time. You know, sometimes some people, once it's a live program like this, they tend to come late. But for your capacity, for being able to make it in a good time, we appreciate you so much for coming in a good time. Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, let's start from the day of the meeting. How did you feel at the end of it all? How did you feel? Were you feeling fulfilled that you had come that far? Because we knew how it was, the agitations here and there, tempers were high and all that. How did you feel at the end of the meeting?
Well, at the end of the meeting, I felt that it was a win-win situation. The workers of River State had won, the government had also won. Because we cannot be without the employers. And the employers too, without the employees, who will be the employer? So we ought to work hand in hand. So I feel that it was a kind of communication breakdown. When you begin to tell management, this is what is good for the worker, this is what you ought to do for them. And sometimes they begin to look at you as if you're antagonistic to the government of the day. Of course not. What we are just trying to do is to drive home our point to see that the welfare of the workers, whom already we have taken oath to protect, is protected. That is all we are going to do. And so at the end of the meeting, like some of the workers were so disappointed. Some started calling me to say, why didn't we go on with the protest? Why didn't we go on with the strike? But the whole essence of the protest and the strike was to drive home our demands. So the government can come to the round table for us to discuss. That's exactly what was done. So I want to use this opportunity to also salute the courage of the governor, despite the fact that the tempers were so high. Agitations and counter-agitations, claims and counter-claims and all that, injunction and all that. At the end of the day, he proved that he's a leader.
But did you see that coming? Did you, when the meeting was called for, did you see that coming? Did you see, were you optimistic that it was going to go well?
Well, I know that at the end of the day, when Labour sets her mind to do a thing, we are asking for things that are within the purview of the portfolio that we are holding. That is what we ask. It's not arbitrary. If we say promote workers, I don't think it's out of place. Pay workers gratuity and pension is not out of place. We are asking for things that are statutory. So if we had gone out of our way to say, if we build skyscrapers for workers and all that, then you can be to say that we are asking from the blues. But in this case, we are asking with what is obtainable. And so, but I knew that at the end of the day, when properly briefed, because sometimes there is this communication that when properly briefed, the governor will see reason and well, accede to the demands of the workers. So
Okay.
I was optimistic.
Okay, so let's look at the 8-point agreement that was entered into. From what we have there, of course, we understand that there was a signing of understanding on the new minimum wage, which was quite an issue at the time, because I know you kept hammering on that in the media before that meeting, and in fact before now there was a strike that was called that you were to call for, but somehow because of the situation, yes, actually, but because of the situation on ground at that time, it was suspended. And we know that minimum wage has been an issue. It's there right now on the 8-point agenda. Agreement is part of it. What can you tell us about that?
Well, the truth is that we held a meeting, so that was late December to early January, on this minimum wage. The governor kind of put up that committee, and we started meeting. But at the point of signing this agreement, something happened and we couldn't sign. So the following month, that same month, we were told that workers have been paid the minimum wage, and we said no. Minimum wages are a result of collective bargaining. It is not given arbitrarily. You must bargain, and at the end of the day, you must sign agreement. There must be a table. There must be a table for us to sign, so that we now hold government liable if that table is not followed tenaciously. It's like me coming to ask you for 18. If it is just verbal, tomorrow you can deny. But if it is written, there are tables, and then we are accountable to the workers. So when they come to a worker can come and say, chairperson, what they are paying me is not the correct salary. I should be able to have a table that I will not say, what is your grade level?
Okay.
What is your step? Then by the time I look at it and compare, what are you paid? And then I can know actually you are paid the right salary or you are shortchanged. That way we can know what to say. Because people can come up with any accusation. And so by the time you don't have a table, what are we paying? That's exactly why we said there should be a signing of agreement. And but when we disagree, they ought to revoke that meeting so that they can also call us back so that we can come back to a collective bargaining table so that we can now finally sign the agreement. But that was not done. Why we said we have not signed any agreement, and we don't believe that what is being paid is even the correct minimum wage, because there were some complaints from our members. Some will come and tell you somebody on the same grade level with me is earning far more than me. Some will come and tell that somebody just so many complaints, and there was nothing for us to fall back to because there was no agreement. So how do you hold government liable when there was nothing signed? So that's exactly. But I'm happy now that at least we will sign this agreement, and then we'll look at the tables and then compare it with that of the federal government, because the agreement was that whatever the federal is paying, that's what the River State government will pay.
Wow.
So when we compare it, and it is, of course, we'll sign the agreement.
Okay. Now, let's look at the tripartite committee. From what I have here, say parties been set up to look at the adjustment of pensions in line with the Constitution and payment of pension and gratuity. Because I've gone through and I've been looking for promotion, I've been looking for employment. Where do these ones come to?
If you look at the tripartite committee, you see that the things to be discussed include.
Yes. So you tell us the things. You tell us the things that are. You tell us the things that are included, because when you say include, we don't know. You make those things clear to us.
We made points. There were demands, and promotion is one of them. The issues of those workers that were not paid is February and March salaries in 2016, based on the biometric exercise that was conducted by the state government, is part of them. These issues of promotions, especially. There are so many other issues. Because when you look at it, when they say include, it is not limited to what is there.
Yes, that's what. So we want to know the other things that are in.
As soon as the committee comes in place, all these things will be taken on board.
So how long, how much time do you people have to sit and streamline all these things?
Well, unfortunately, when you look at the agreement itself, there was no time frame. But of course, everybody knows a time frame that is very reasonable to actually actualize all this. I know that there are some that are immediate. Like I said, I want to really commend the government. Yesterday, I had feelers that they've already released money for the health workers that was in
that sounds good.
Which is to say that the government has really started implementing the decision.
Because I was going to talk about the health workers.
I want to applaud them for that. And I know that immediately they will begin to do others. The secretariat, as you know, was opened almost immediately. So there are some that are immediate. There are some too that will take that, like promotions. And there must be people that they will fill apart from. The Civil Service Commission will come into place, and then they begin to invite workers for promotions and all that. And so these things will take a little time, but I know that it will be reasonable time, reasonable enough for us to all accept and applaud it.
What of employment? Because like this place, we know that, of course, civil service generally will have people who retire from year to year, and their spaces are just there. So what of employment and people to fill up?
Yes, actually, the employment is within the purview of the government.
Yes, we understand.
But we'll continue in that committee. will be able to advise and tell them the need, because the system is empty. Go to the secretariat, there are no workers. Go to the hospital, there are no workers. Go to the classrooms, the teacher, there are no workers. There are some local ones that you go to a school, you don't see up to 2 teachers in the whole of the school, because most of them have retired. And so we'll begin to tell them, so they will begin to see the need. As people are going, we are replacing, so that the system will not just dry up. I don't know. So we are saying that they should not annihilate the service, because it's the same like the engine room of government. So without these people there working, what do you do? Is it when you come in and then nobody begin to employ people that will not even know the rudiments of the system? People must be there to train others, so that as people is going out, others are also coming up. That's exactly what we are canvassing for. And I want to believe that because we have signed this agreement, everything will be taken on board holistically. Okay.
When you started, you said some people were disappointed that the protest didn't go on. And of course, we heard so many things from different quarters and all that. And one of the things they said was, maybe you people were particular about check-off dues. Tell us about that.
The truth about this check-off dues issue is that if you look at the whole of our agitations, there was no place that this check-off dues issue was contained. Reasons being that this stoppage of check-off was as a result of something. There was an action that prompted that stoppage. I don't know whether you get it. Somebody was paying, and suddenly the person that will not pay again. What's happened? We started these agitations, and that also snowballed into the stoppage of the check-off dues, into the sealing of the secretary and all that. At the end, we do know that by the time these issues are resolved naturally, also that ones will fall into place.
Okay.
It's like I said, pay me this, and because of that I say, okay, because since I don't want to pay this, I will not give you this again. So by that we now agree, and these payments are made, when this other one come naturally. So we didn't see it as something that will be in the problem, because of course it is statutory. And so we know that one day somehow it will come. So it wasn't at the front burner at all. That wasn't the issue.
Okay, so it wasn't like a driving force. Because a lot of civil servants felt that was a major thing, and when the protest was called off, it was like, why? Because they have promised to release the check-off dues to them, so they decided to call off the protest. Yes, because we heard different things from different quarters.
Yes, different. I know there are mischief makers in every situation, even among the workers that we are agitating for. There are those who will still go back to want to blackmail us, to want to say one thing or the other, to draw people down. There are those who maybe wanted to hold one office or the other, and since they couldn't, the next thing to do is to pull down whoever is there. The truth is that something happened. I was telling somebody, there was somebody who even confronted with this, and I said, have you asked yourself, why was this check-up stopped in the first instance?
Okay.
It should be something happened. If we were comfortable collecting check-up dues and not agitating for the workers, there wouldn't have been a situation whereby check-up would have been stopped. I don't know whether you get it. Something prompted that. Something happened and we gave an ultimatum, and based on that, okay, maybe because they are having money, let us see how we can start. Maybe they will no longer talk. And at the end of the day, even though the money was seized from us, we are still talking. And they now felt that actually these people really, they mean what they are saying. They really mean well for the workers.
Okay.
They have the interest of their members at heart. And so let us guide. So check out, we didn't measure. If you look at all our, even the promos, everything that with the jingles, there was no one place that would mention check-up dues. I was in a radio program, and somebody was the person who asked, somebody who works in the union, because he has not been paid for about 7 months, so he called in. Said, Madam, you are not talking about the check-up dues. Why? I said, because I know that when these other issues are resolved, the check-up dues will naturally be resolved. Because to start with, what comes to the state is 10%, I will always say it. All the monies we collect, 10% is what comes to the state.
10%?
10%. Other one goes to the national, some goes to the branches. So if you who is having the 90% does not bother about it, is it me who is having the 10%? I should kill myself over it. So that wasn't my driving force. My driving force was the welfare of the workers of River State. Every day these pensioners come to my office, they complain. When we talk at the end of the day, sometimes before they come the next 2 weeks, one person is dead. And so I felt that passion to go out there and speak for them. It wasn't an issue of check-up, because I knew that one day, when it is time, the national will come for their check-up. It's not our money.
Okay. Now, for the retirees, those who have been hoping for their pensions and gratuity, after the meeting, did you hear from any of them?
So many of them were calling to congratulate us.
Okay.
Even the pensioners union came in person after the voting to congratulate us, but they were happy at the outcome of the meeting.
Okay. Now, were there litigations? I know that before that meeting, before the 8th of September, as you said earlier, there were counter-accusations, accusations left, right, and center, agitations here and there, tempers were high and all that. What has happened with the litigations? Because part of the 8-point agreement was that litigations were going to be dropped. So
you have said it all.
So you tell us.
Me, I didn't have any.
Okay.
The only litigation I knew about was after that strike that we held. That was in April. We held that strike, that 3 days.
Yes.
Because of the COVID issues, we had to suspend that strike. So the government took us to court. And we are in court. I think that was the only thing. Okay. And in that, they didn't say we should not even go on strike, because that, even the injunction that they wanted to serve us, they couldn't serve. The day they withdrew that injunction at the court there. So this other injunction, this other new one they were talking about, is straight to me because I didn't see it.
Wow.
And I only heard it on radio when the Attorney General was saying that there's an injunction. I didn't see it. Nobody served on me. Nobody even made an attempt, because I was everywhere. I wasn't hiding, so I didn't know. But now, luckily, at the end of the day, we have said all parties will take steps to withdraw all litigation.
Whether you saw or not, you heard or not.
Oh, I see you, I didn't see you. Or you served, you didn't serve. Everything will be withdrawn, and then we'll continue to work together.
Okay. Now, you hold a very sensitive position when it comes to labor in the state. How do you feel when there are these agitations and you know that you're not able to meet up with the needs of the workers, because those are the people you're protecting? How do you feel as a person handling that position?
Yes, actually, you will feel very disappointed. You feel very uneasy. The truth is that I used to tell our members that the bulk does not end on my table. Ours is a movement of struggle. You have to ask, even whether in the public or in the private sector, they are the same. When they bring these issues, you must go to management, who is the employer, to say do A, do B, do C. And then you don't start with quarrels or fights. You start softly.
But do you always get what you want?
In some cases, I wouldn't say in all the cases. In some cases, yes, we do. But in some cases, they will still want you to shout, and then you begin to threaten, and you begin, at the end of the day, sometimes you will even go out giving ultimatum, but then you will even want to declare the strike before finally we resolve. But in most cases, we have always resolved. We have always resolved. Okay. I want to give them that credit, that they have always tried to see how we can resolve amicably. Okay.
Now, we know that so much is ahead of you. The Rivers workers are looking up to you. You people have met. Things have been put in place. And we're still expectant. The Rivers workers are still expectant, want to see more, in as much as these things have been put together. I'm particular about promotion and employment. I'll come back there, because just before we came into the studio, a few persons had come to me. Please, we want these things to be clear. And you know, somebody working for a couple of years, and I know that that's part of it is included there. We've made it clear. But I also want to understand that because there was no time frame given, and you have also told us that in as much as time frame wasn't given, but at least you know that it's something that should be worked in at least early enough for the workers. When this is not done, how do you think the Rivers workers will feel?
Well, it will be done. I am optimistic.
Especially with time.
We are going to meet at the tripartite committee level, and we are going to present this thing. The cards will be placed on the table, and I'm sure that even His Excellency himself is not happy that workers will work for 8-10 years and will not be promoted. Somebody cannot start a job on level 8 and you expect that the person will also retire on level 8. It's an aberration.
Okay.
And it's an error. And so actually I'm sure they are not happy. And now that these issues have come to the fore, I heard him when he was doing the broadcast, he said it was a misunderstanding. So now that we are understanding ourselves, I want to believe that when we bring this or suggestions, we bring in this and actually see them. These are facts. Of course, they will assent to it, and at the end of the day, these issues of promotion will be a thing of the past. Okay.
Now, for the ones that have retired, maybe those that had to be on one level for a couple of years and then they retired on that level, anything?
Well, we have also said that the pensions will be reviewed when salaries are reviewed. And so that is also a good one for them. Prior to this period, I know that here at River State, they have not reviewed pensions for years, right from the time of Governor Peter all the way up to today.
So will this be an opportunity?
This one is an opportunity, because this one now that it is already on the agreement, any time minimum wage is reviewed, theirs will also be reviewed. Well, there are certain things when after a kind of fight, we say there is no victor, no vanquish. Simply there are some inconveniences you will suffer. Like me, maybe I would have retired on a grade level higher than what I did, but because of this, I have already retired as we speak. And so
it can't be revisited.
That can be done, but that's why sometimes you lose a little, you also win a little. So it's a win-win situation.
Okay, the ones that retired in August, the ones that retired August is just 2 weeks back, a week ago. I know some persons who retired on the 31st of August. Will they have any benefit from this, or they are going on their level? At
the tripartite committee level, I think we will work all that out. We'll be able to look at it and advance our reasons why these people should be considered for promotions and all that. And I also do know that as you are easing at when you are living, sometimes if you have overstayed in a particular grade level, nationally they will take you to the next before they retire, and then they will now compute your gratuity and pensions on that new grade.
Based on the new grade level.
Yes.
Okay.
Though you didn't enjoy it while you were working, but you'll be given at retirement.
Okay.
And so that is always done.
Okay. So at the tripartite committee, will it be possible for those who have been on a particular grade level for a couple of years, when it is being implemented, hoping that it will be implemented, will they be pushed to their original grade level, or they will just move to a grade level higher?
No, there is a way the service works.
I don't know if you understand me.
Yes, I do. There's a way the service works. If I was to stay 4 years in a particular position,
and you stayed for 8 years, yes,
there's something like there's something called double promotion.
Okay.
The truth is that you may not enjoy the financial benefits of this one. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. Then as you go to the
even for
level,
those in service, yes, I'm also talking about those in service.
Those in service. You may not enjoy the financial benefit for this lower grade level, but the other one you are going to, they cannot pay you that. But then you will jump this other one and go to the next one, and then they will pay you on this new one. You cannot, if I'm supposed to be on level 13, for instance, and I'm still on level 10, you don't say that I will not go to level 12, because no level 11 is the service.
Yes, yes.
Tertiary institutions. So you cannot say I will be on 12, then I'm still denied.
Okay. So you will automatically be moved to 13.
All these things will be worked out.
Wow.
And once we put it on the table, they will know that that is the right
The financial benefits as well.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. What of increment?
Increment is a yearly affair, and it's something that's also statutory. And the funny thing about this increment is that it's not even much. Sometimes I know that when I was still in service, sometimes your increment may not be up to 2,000, but it makes the worker happy. At least something is being done. So all these things are there. We'll put them all on board, and then they begin to do that. It will not even cost the government anything much. Sometimes it is the people that are advising government on this are not advising them properly. It will not cost them much. It won't cost them anything. And then it will still make the people to continue to applaud the government, to put in their best. A worker that is well remunerated will be there to put in his or her best. But if the place of work is not conducive, nothing is happening, you see our party, nobody will be happy again. If you come into work, you become a complacent and all that. And so I want the people of Rivers, the workers of Rivers, to put in their best and work for the government of the day. So they should also give us the best. That's why after the day after that rally, the aborted rally, when the workers that came for us to address them, I told them that they should go back and put in their best, because to whom much is given, much is also expected. So we are asking for much for them. So they should on their own part also put in their best. The employer can see it and know that actually we are doing well. So when you go to the employer to say you have not done, what of your workers, are they coming to work? Do they even do this? And you will not be. Because
I wanted us to end on that. We have been asking for so much from government. I wanted to ask how the workers can actually show that they are appreciative of what they are getting.
Really appreciative. If you look at the average worker, we are very, very resilient. And the worker loves the work environment. Let me put it that way. Find out that even when there are no lights, nothing to show, sometimes you see worker trekking when there is no lift. Up to the 10th, 11th floor, you see people going. If they don't have passion for the job, will they do that? Of course, you can end up at the ground floor and begin to go. So workers really want to work. All we want, give us the instruments and make the place conducive for us to work, and also give us what it takes. But as you go, we are working. You are not just working. I used to tell my children that I didn't come to Port Harcourt to look for work. If I had wanted work, there are so many farmlands in Abua. By the time I begin to farm one place or the other, I cannot even finish the farmlands. But I came to Port Harcourt to look for greener pastures. And so because of that, people should be given what they came here, so that they can be able to put in their best. If at the end of the day I'm supposed to be on level 13, my salary is supposed to be 200,000, and you're still paying me less than 100,000, you think I'll be happy? Of course I will not be happy.
That's true.
And so they should boost, then we can also move on.
Oh, thank you so much. In case you're just joining us, the program is Editor's Pick, and it's coming to you live from the studios of Rivers State Television, Channel 22 here in Port Harcourt, and we're looking at NLC, looking at Labour, and the outcome of the meeting that was had with both NLC and TUC by the state government, and of course government representatives. And my guest has been the state chairperson of the NLC, Comrade Beatrice Itubo, and we've actually taken time to look at some of these things. We know that a lot of persons didn't quite understand everything about the 8-point agreement. She has made it clear. So for those that have been asking questions about employment, about promotion, about workers' welfare, you have heard from the person who is heading labor in the state. I would like to appreciate you once again for being here. You've actually cleared these things, because when things like this happen, when there are meetings, some persons will say, was that actually, you'll just be hearing something would have been said, but people just leave those things and decide to understand it their own way, misinterpretations here and there. But thank you for being here and for making it clear, for making us understand this better. Of course, that's why we have you. So thank you indeed. And this is where the program has to end. We appreciate you. And for those that just joined us, remember to join us next week on the program Editors Speak as we look at another hot issue. And I want to thank everyone that has been part of this. Christian, thank you so much. Of course, Christian Confidence. And Helen, thank you for always being there when the time comes. Donobari Gregory, thank you. And of course, I won't leave out this person who always call to find out what will happen. Fingese Onisoya, thank you, Head of Current Affairs, for ensuring that this always happens every Sunday. Until we'll see next week on the program Editors Speak, God willing, I'm Otuna here as winner.